Hello, welcome back to Hydroponics Daily with me, Dr. Russell Sharp. A couple of weeks ago, I talked about a number of high-profile vertical farm companies that had gone bust, had gone bankrupt. Well, in the lyrics of my son's latest favourite song, Dun, 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 another one bites the dust. Yep, another vertical farm company has gone bust, and this time it is Fait Farms in America. So only in 2023 was Fait Farms valued at $147 million, and now it's gone bankrupt. So what's gone wrong so quickly for Fait Farms? Well, as the name suggested, Fait Farms had one specialty, and that was cultivating crops in shipping containers, so Fait Farms. And they were scaling aggressively from 2023 onwards. And rather than selling the produce, they were selling the container farms as like modules where you could put them next to a shop, a restaurant, or a school, things like this. Then they would have continued payments for the nutrients and seeds and things like this going forward. And they had at least 600 of these containers sold, and they were operating in over 40 countries. So Fait Farms is a big name in hydroponics and controlled environment agriculture. But crucially, they also supplied the software to run the grow rooms. And with bankruptcy proceedings underway, the software's gone down, and lots of the orders have been unfulfilled, and the community of Fait Farm sort of customers have had to come together and support each other to actually keep their grow rooms running. So there's not really much researched journalism out there to say what actually caused this company to go bust, but perhaps it's just running out of money, running out of investment funds, and not getting customers straight away. So there are sector-wide challenges that have led to other sort of customers going bankrupt as well. Other companies such as high energy costs, however, they've come down recently as well. The price of oil is really low. It's like $60 a barrel, isn't it, now at the moment? I think it's really about difficulties of achieving the profitability at the scale. You know, lettuce is ridiculously low profit margin and leafy veg. And so why would somebody invest so much money in a highly complex shipping container? So shipping container growing the shipping container is the easy bit. It's the bits that go inside it that's difficult, and also fitting everything in and maximizing production. So you can get these figures about how much you can produce per square meter, but they rely on everything working exactly as it should be and all the processes going well. And obviously a shipping container, what do you call it in America? HVAC. We would just call it air conditioning units and things like this. If it's a very, very hot positioning and location, then they're really going to struggle. You can use tiered base trays just like you do in a large scale warehouse vertical farm, where it's like either ebb and flood or nutrient film technique, so large trays either side of the grow room or just one side of the shipping container. However, Fait Farms was looking at sort of vertically aligned grow rooms, so the plants you would harvest them very easily rather than going into the tray, almost like a wall, like a green wall of lettuce, and then the light's coming in from the side. It's a very interesting concept. So the figures on how much they said that the container farm could actually grow. So one container farm could harvest more than 990 heads of lettuce every week. That's a strange figure. You would think that you'd round that up to 1,000, but no, 2 to 6 tons of production annually. So that's a lot of lettuce, because that's a lot. That is a lot. So that's a lot of water going in as well. But minimal water usage. So they said they could grow up to 13,000 plants using only 5 gallons of water per day, 99.8% less than traditional farming methods. However, there are a couple of issues with container farming, and that's because it's not small scale hobby growing, and it's not massive commercial production. You're sort of trapped halfway in between the two. And so if I was growing a container farm, I'd want a big area for sterilizing myself and my fellow workers as we went in, make sure there's no soil on our shoes, making sure we're not bringing in pest and disease, an airlock in there so that any flying insects or spider mites hanging around, they can smell the plants, not trying to get in, so they can be removed before you go in. And then you'd also need a fairly large area for post-harvest treatment. So sterilizing the lettuce, if that's going to be if you're going to be sterilizing it. So a lot of the time, lettuce and leafy veg is chlorinated. So you're going to need a facility to do that. You're certainly going to need a facility for packing and removing any unsightly leaves, putting labels on the product and things like this. And that all takes space and time. If you were growing it for if it was a school or a restaurant, you wouldn't really need to do that. But if it was a supermarket or for any other facility like a veg box type scheme, you would need to do something like that. So that would all need to be done either in another shipping container or somewhere else, because your shipping container is set up and optimized for hydroponic growing. As far as the nutrients and the technology, it's all fairly similar to standard vertical farming. They're going to use a computerized dosing system, recirculatory system with pumps, UV filters, maybe an ozone filter. The LED lights will be standard. They won't be as high powered. There'll just be more of them and lower wattage and smaller, but lots of fans, just to get them in there and get the air moving. You're still going to need a lot of air circulation coming in, so you're going to have inlet and outlet filters on the. Probably not an outlet filter. Yeah, you're probably still going to have an outlet filter. I'd still stick an outlet filter on there just to stop any backflow of any pests and disease coming in. So, like if that filter went off, then to stop that. The disadvantage of having it a sort of restaurant type shipping container is that it doesn't look cool. Like you see in London, there's a new restaurant that's just opened called the Orangery. Very expensive, like a bowl of porridge is £9 or something like that, £8. But it's got the hydroponic unit inside the restaurant, which looks flipping class. Whereas having a shipping container outside your restaurant doesn't look great, does it? You know what shipping containers look like. It looks like, you're on a building site. Unless you can somehow have like a webcam or a window where customers can see into it and see the amazing sort of technology in there. But it's that one of those things, farming as a service, hydroponics as a service. They always say, the lettuce you get from them is not necessarily value for money, but people like the experience. But, you could say that about an aquarium. Like my kids would rather look at an aquarium than they would a hydroponic plant growth facility, even though their dad's a plant scientist. So I'm always very skeptical of, companies saying that, people will love the experience of seeing the hydroponic systems. There's lots of other things they'd like to see that cost a lot less money than a full shipping container, because these products are not cheap. Plus, there's a lot of competition out there. There's a lot of plug and play hydroponic companies that are looking to deliver ready to use off the back of a lorry hydroponic systems. Because there's a lot of engineers out there who like to develop systems like this. It's a very cool thing to do, set up a shipping container hydroponic system. Everyone thinks they can design the optimum 3D printed, widget and valve and things like this. So there's no shortage of people who want to be hydroponic engineers. So, and you can see it's the idea of setting up an engineering company to deliver this is probably quite cool. So that's probably why there's a lot of competition. And there's no shortage of people who want to invest in high-tech things. And this looks high-tech, and, growing in vertical farms did attract a lot of venture capital investment, Wall Street, City of London money because of that. And, if you patent, you can easily do a design patent on a widget and a valve, and then you've got a patent. Whereas if you wanted to patent a plant or you wanted to patent a fertilizer or a biostimulant, it would take millions of pounds and maybe 10, 20 years to do it. But, patenting a widget, a design patent, is really easy. And so you can see why investors got attracted to it, because there was protection around it. This was unique technology, despite the fact that it wasn't, it might not have been significantly better than what the opposition were, the opponents, the competition were developing. But yeah, it's certainly bad news to have another hydroponic company go bankrupt. So I'm not reveling in it, but it's all part of, business, isn't it? Companies come out, companies go bust, and some of the people who were working for freight farms, I'm sure, will set up other companies in hydroponics. A bit like when Nokia went bust in Finland, and about 7 years later, there's an absolute boom in high-tech industry in Finland with all these new companies, because all these people were sat in Nokia not doing a great deal, and then they all had a big severance pay, and then they developed their own unique high-tech company after that. So hopefully it will just mean we're through to the next cycle of hydroponic companies. Be interesting to see what happens next. And hopefully with less competition, the ones that survive will have more opportunity, more market share, and can make a real go of it and have some real successes and profits. So that's been Hydroponics Daily for today. Shipping container growing and the fate of freight farms. Easier for me to say. Thank you very much for listening. See you again tomorrow.